Yo, what's up everybody? It's me, WDMichael, and in today's YouTube video, we're going to be talking about shiny hunting, and not necessarily actually the act of shiny hunting and hunting the Pokemon, but what I want to talk about in this video is a little bit of a different part of shiny hunting that doesn't really get talked a lot in the shiny hunting scene, and that's specifically the type of Pokemon partner that you will take along with you in your shiny hunting adventures. When I first began shiny hunting, I ran into some issues. I didn't really know a whole lot about shiny hunting. I played a lot of VGC, and when I came into the shiny hunting area of Sword and Shield, I found out real quick that there were some things I just didn't know. One of those being was the partner Pokemon to have along with you, and I found this out really quick in one particular situation. I found a Gigalith. Random out in the overworld was my first shiny in Sword and Shield. I went and I fought it with whatever I had in my party, and I threw a Pokeball at it. It knocked itself out using Explosion. The first Pokemon I ever found in Sword and Shield literally knocked itself out, and I was sitting there stumped. I didn't know what happened. I didn't know how to prevent that, and so I took a lot of time since then researching, looking at other options about what can I do to be a better shiny hunter. And that specific part of that was the companion Pokemon you bring with you can actually help you out a ton when you're shiny hunting. From helping you to put Pokemon to sleep, which can help your encounter rate, to having Pokemon that actually have solid utilities like Ball Swipe, so you can knock down a Pokemon to really low HP, which also increases your catch rate. On top of many other things that I just wasn't aware about. So what I want to do in this YouTube video is talk about some of that research that I've been gathering over the months, and some of the Pokemon that I really think that you should be bringing with you to your shiny hunts, especially since the Teal Mask is coming out here tonight. It's time to get yourself prepared with a really solid companion to go along with you into those shiny hunts in this new area, because that is exactly what I'll be doing. So let's hop in to check out these builds to get you prepped for the shiny hunting and the Teal Mask. Yo, alright, so here we are with our very first companion Pokemon for you to take with you on a shiny hunt. Now, I found out really quick that Braylum was probably one of the absolute, if not just greatest companions to bring along with you in your shiny hunts, and that's due to the fact that he gets two just beyond useful tools in shiny hunting, on top of the fact that it's got a little bit of speed. Like, it just ends up being a really good Pokemon. So I spent a little bit of time trying to perfect a Braylum build, and there's actually two that I'm going to show you here. One of them is going to be a little bit more of a tanky, kind of a, hang around kind of one. Another one's going to be definitely a much more attack, centralized Braylum. They're both great, and you can obviously build these to fit exactly how you want to, or whatever hunt you're going into. But this at least gives you an idea of what some potential partners would look like in the game. So, Braylum, the literal best Pokemon for shiny hunting. This is going to be more of the slower, kind of supporty, tanky one. And the biggest reason why is because we're going to be using the Poison Heal ability. Now, what Poison Heal does is it actually heals your Pokemon whenever they're poisoned instead of damaging them. So what this ends up providing us is a couple of things. It gives us some passive recovery for our Pokemon. Also, because we're holding the Poison Orb to give ourselves the poison, we can actually forget about our Pokemon having any status conditions. We don't have to worry about burns, paralyzed, sleeps, any of that. So we've actually removed kind of a big issue when you're out there, and just we don't have to worry about status conditions, and we're getting recovery. So it's kind of a win-win situation on the whole ability and item for Braylum. With the EV spread, I went on this one because it is more of like a support, bulkier one. What I did want to do is I wanted to give it HP. I didn't really think we needed a whole lot of attack investment, and the reason being is that this is going to be a level 100 Pokemon generally, and a lot of the Pokemon you're going to be hunting that are shiny Pokemon are probably going to be 50, 60, or even lower. So, like, attack investment isn't huge, at least at this point, unless you're, going down into Area 0 and you're fighting all of the massive Paradox Pokemon. Maybe more difficult. But for the majority of what we're doing, probably not necessary. So what we want to do is we want to give it a little bit more bulk then. So the other EVs are going to go into its defensive stat and its special defense stat. And I'll explain why we set up with this particular spread. Braylum has a decent defensive stat. It's definitely better than its special defense stat. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to give it a higher special defense stat with the Careful Nature, so we could really boost up that special defense. And with the defense itself, we didn't need as much investment. And the big reason why is because one of the moves that I chose to put on this Pokemon will help mitigate some of that defensive damage we might be taking. And that's going to be Charm. So Charm will actually lower the attack stat of the attacking Pokemon by 2, which will ultimately really even out. And the reason why we don't need to put a ton of investment in defense, and we could kind of put that more in the special defense in one of the weaker areas. So that was kind of the coverage that we wanted to do with the Braylum. Now for the big things and the reason why Braylum is so good at shiny hunting. The first one is going to be False Swipe. Not every Pokemon learns False Swipe. So when you're looking for a shiny hunting companion, the first thing you do is go, okay, well, which Pokemons have False Swipe? And the reason is because False Swipe is just that good. It will hit a Pokemon, but it will never knock it out. It'll always bring it down to 1 HP. So this can be very valuable when you're shiny hunting Pokemon, especially difficult Pokemon to catch. Anytime a Pokemon is dropped into the what we call red of its HP, it's easier to catch. And you see that in the anime all the time. You gotta battle a Pokemon in order to catch it. It's the same thing when you're playing in these video games. You gotta get the HP lower to make the catch chances easier. I mean, obviously you can catch them at full HP, but it's infinitely harder. So False Swipe can really help with that. Now, if you're using False Swipe, you really have to be careful with the Pokemon you're hunting. Make sure it's not gonna put up any weather like sand. That could be an issue. If you're at 1 HP, it'll knock itself out. Or other things like moves that'll actually damage it if it hits you, like I'm sorry, I can't even think of the word. Wild Charge. There we go. Wild Charge. So Wild Charge is one of those moves where if it hits you, it will do damage to itself. So you really got to be careful on which Pokemon you're using it on, and just be aware that it may knock itself out if you're not paying attention. The other one that is just huge is Spore. Anytime a Pokemon has a status condition, it makes it easier to catch. And if we can Spore a Pokemon and put it to sleep, that means it's not using any moves. So that could be a huge save for Pokemon that maybe want to use Explosion and knock themselves out. You can actually give yourself some free time to get this Pokemon ready to catch without it actually using that move. Or at least give yourself some more opportunities, I guess. The other move that I went with was Bullet Seed. Now, when you're out shiny hunting, chances are you might walk into a Pokemon you don't want to hunt. Or maybe you just want to, you're going into an outbreak and you need to knock out a bunch of Pokemon. Whatever it may end up being, it's always nice to have one damaging move on your Pokemon. Bullet Seed being one of the best moves that this Pokemon has. Pretty decent. So it was the one that we went with. Now, this would definitely be what I would consider a more bulky support Braylum for shiny hunting. Let's talk about the attack heavy one that has a couple different moves and a little bit of a different EV set. Specifically, the ability is a little bit different. Let's check that one out next. Okay, so here's our Braylum that is a definitely more attack heavy Braylum. Now, this one would be one where maybe you're fighting some stronger Pokemon and you really want to have some more, damage coming out of your Braylum. Maybe you're fighting a grass type Pokemon. The options are there. It's definitely a viable option that you can have and will help out with some certain other situations. So in this one, we went more with a 252 attack, 252 speed. So you're basically trying to just do whatever you need to before the other Pokemon is. You want to sleep them right away. You want to False Swipe them. You want to do all this stuff before they're actually able to attack you. Speedy, kind of a partner. One of the things I want to talk about is the actual Terra type. We wanted the Ghost Terra type just due to the fact that it gives you a defensive swap in case you're worried about a fire type Pokemon. You won't be super effective. If you think you're going to take any normal or fighting type, it's one of the only Pokemon typings that actually gets 2 immunities. So all in all, it just seemed like the best chance to have a defensive, an actual usable defensive Terra. So that was the reason for that. Now with the actual Technician ability, basically what this does is any of your moves with 60 power or less have a 1.5 times damage boost to them. So False Swipe gets damage boosted. Mach Punch, Bullet Seed, all are going to be damage boosted. So you're going to be pumping out a good chunk of damage. And generally, if you're going to False Swipe a Pokemon with this kind of a build, you're probably going to knock them down to 1. With the other build, there might have been some Pokemon where you would have False Swiped them and they may not have gone down to 1 HP. It is definitely an option. This one, you're more than likely going to have that happen. We went with an Adamant Nature to really boost the attack. The Berry is just going to give you some recovery in the battle. If you're level 100 and you're fighting a level 60 Pokemon, you're going to take some damage. And at one point, if it takes too long, you may end up finding yourself at half HP or less, and it'll just boost you up and give you some more survivability. So that was the reason for the Berry. Now, everything on the moveset is the same except for Mach Punch. We got rid of Charm. We added Mach Punch. It gives you a little bit more coverage. for things that you may want to do. So yeah, this would definitely be a much more attack centered Braylum. Both have great options. They're both going to do great. Obviously, because you have False Swipe and Spore, you're going to be able to do plenty with these Pokemon. And to be honest, this Braylum in particular may be better towards your grass type Pokemon hunts, to give you that extra boost of damage you may end up needing into those Pokemon. So just something to keep in mind. So Braylum is our just kind of top tier all around shiny hunting companion partner. Now, there is one thing that obviously, if we're going through this and we're talking about this, is, well, hey, WD, False Swipe only hits Pokemon that aren't ghosts. What are you gonna do about ghost Pokemon? I got you covered on that one. So let's talk about Decidueye next. Okay, so we want to hunt some ghost Pokemon. Well, there is a very specific Pokemon that you can use on your ghost Pokemon hunting, and that is going to be Hisuian Decidueye. And there is one huge reason why, and you can tell there is False Swipe on my thing. Well, why are you having False Swipe? You're hunting ghost Pokemon. And the reason is because of the ability Scrappy. Scrappy lets you hit ghost type Pokemon. So we can False Swipe all those ghost type Pokemon if we have the right ability on our Hisuian Decidueye. And you can't get it on the other Decidueye. It doesn't work. It has to be the Hisuian one. And if you get it, you're totally good to go ahead and start fighting some ghost type Pokemon, because this will help you tremendously. And the reason why we went with the other moves was Synthesis gives you some HP recovery. Taunt will obviously help you stop any ghost type Pokemon. Generally have a lot of utility and can be kind of annoying. Taunt it, make sure it doesn't end up happening. The reason why I went with Triple Arrows, it is a specific move for this Pokemon, and if you need to knock out other Pokemon, it's nice to have a damaging move. Now, what we did with the item is we went with the ability shield. Now, there are ghost type Pokemon that can remove your ability, so that would be really annoying. And if we're really just focusing on ghost type Pokemon, let's make it so that we don't ever have to worry about that. Slap an ability shield on this Pokemon and your Scrappy never goes away. So we don't have to worry about that anymore, and we're basically solid to just hunt as many ghost type Pokemon as we want. EV spread, I would go a little bit of the HP, but I would definitely mainly focus on your attack and your speed. That way you're outspeeding a lot of these ghost type Pokemon, so you can get those False Swipe, those Synthesis, whatever ends up being that you want to do, you get out early and get as much damage as you need to. So yeah, honestly, I was really excited about this one. One of my moderators was talking to me about Hisuian Decidueye and how you could actually use it as a ghost type Pokemon. I spent a day basically just going through all the moves, all the abilities, all just basically building this Pokemon and figuring out the best way to make this into a ghost type Pokemon. So I was really excited about this, and I've got mine built in game now, so I'm ready for the Teal Mask. I've got my Braylum. I am ready to go, and yeah, I'm super excited for shiny hunting because there's a couple Pokemon on my list already. So yo, thank you so much for coming out to my YouTube video. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. Hopefully this video helps you get set up as best as possible for your shiny hunting adventures in the Teal Mask DLC that's dropping in, like 2 hours, man. I am super excited. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic day. If you are looking for some company on the opening day of the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC, the Teal Mask, make sure you hop on over to my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/WDMichael, because I will be live for pretty much the majority of the night, playing this game, exploring, beating the game, and shiny hunting some of my favorite Pokemon. We did get the shiny Applin on stream, so we will get that day one shiny Diplin. Looking for Poltergeist and a bunch of other Pokemon. I am super excited. Please let me know down in the comments what you are most excited about in this upcoming DLC and what you're gonna do on day one. I would love to hear about it. Again, thank you all so much for coming out to these YouTube videos and supporting me. I cannot thank you enough. We have recently been in the Respawn Recruits top 150, and so I'm pushing really hard to get in that top 5. So you're gonna be seeing a ton of content coming from me here in the coming weeks, and I'm so excited for it to be all covering the Teal Mask. So again, thank you all so much. I hope you have a fantastic day on Paldea Trainers. Make sure you hit that subscribe and notification bell so you get notified when I go live, or when I drop another video like this, or when I do go live. Peace.